Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. Today we're talking about one of my most anticipated movies of 2024, and that is Dune Part 2. Real quick before we jump into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up, and without further ado, let's talk about Dune. So Dune 2 picks up right after the first Dune, so if you haven't seen the first film, definitely recommend you guys check that out before you watch this movie. So it picks up right afterwards where you have Paul Atreides and Rebecca Ferguson's character going off to learn the ways of the Fremen people. Then you have the Harkonnens, who they want to continue spice production and are also looking to wipe out the Fremen people. There's definitely a lot of political warfare here. You also have new characters like the Emperor, played by Christopher Walken, and his daughter, played by Florence Pugh, as well as Austin Butler, who plays one of the villains in the movie. So needless to say, there is a lot going on in this film, and that kind of shows with the runtime. You want to expect it's about 2 hours and 40 minutes-ish. So it's a pretty long movie, but the first thing I just want to say to you guys, if you are planning to go see Dune 2, I can't recommend highly enough. First of all, go see it on the big screen because it's meant to be seen in a theater rather than at home for your first experience. Go see it on the big screen, but also watch it on the biggest screen possible. So whether that's like an IMAX for you or if you have a Dolby theater near you, I think those are going to be your best experiences with this film because it was shot specifically for IMAX, and you're just going to get the best experience with the visuals, the audio. So I can't recommend highly enough. If you guys have the opportunity, go see it in one of those formats, at least for the first time that you watch it. So kind of piggybacking right off that, the visuals in this movie are absolutely insane. You might have heard this from some other reviewers already so far, but there's several sequences with these sandworms and where you see people riding on these sandworms and you almost feel like you are right there in the scene with them because there's sand flying all around you, and just the way that it is shot, absolutely mind-blowing, crazy. That's why I can't suggest highly enough to make sure you see this in IMAX or Dolby, because to get that full experience, to feel like you're really there with those characters. There's another scene that really stands out for me where you have Austin Butler's character and basically all the color is drained out of the scene because there's like an eclipse or something going on. And just the way that whole scene looks, everything's like black and white basically. But just the contrast of those two colors, everything looked incredible there. And the way that whole fight sequence played out was pretty intense too. So another highlight for me with one of my favorite scenes of the film. The cinematography here is just top notch. From start to finish, this film is absolutely gorgeous. I thought the first Dune film that came out a couple years ago, those visuals were beautiful, but this movie just kind of takes everything to the next level. And honestly, it really raises the bar as far as what fans can almost expect, or at least know that filmmakers are able to do compared to, some of the films of recent years where we've got kind of questionable CGI and things like that. Because sure, there's some practical effects and stuff in here, but there's definitely a lot of digital effects as well. And the way that everything looks in here, there was nothing that took me out of the movie. And so it just really raised the bar as far as how everything looks in this film. And again, I was able to see this at the fan advanced screening where it was at like IMAX. So a little bit later getting this review out, but I saw it at that opening night. The theater was completely sold out. It was just an incredible experience getting to experience that with everyone else in the theater. So like I said, guys, I just can't say enough that if you have the opportunity, go check it out in IMAX or Dolby or just the biggest screen possible that's near you guys. You also get to see a lot more of Zendaya's character this time around, where she's trying to show Timothee Chalamet's character the way of her people. And this film definitely focuses a lot more on their love story. So both of the characters get a lot more to do, but specifically Zendaya, where you didn't really get to see as much of her in that first film. And I'm a fan of her, so it was really nice to see more of her. I know some people not so much a fan of Zendaya, and so if you're not a fan of hers, I don't know if her performance is gonna win you over, but I really enjoyed it. But yeah, you can definitely expect more from her and Timothee Chalamet for sure. And personally for me, I thought, at least from what I've seen from his career so far, I thought this was one of Timothee Chalamet's best performances to date. Specifically when we get to some certain scenes that show up in the later on in the film, like the third act. What he was able to do there and just convey with his emotion was, I didn't know that he had that in them. So yeah, I would say this is probably my favorite performance that I've seen from him so far to date. And this cast, I mean, it's just absolutely stacked. All the people that are in here, it's probably really easy to forget. It's like, oh yeah, this person's also in the film as well. But one of the people that I want to mention is Rebecca Ferguson's character, who plays Paul Atreides' mom in the film. And kind of her whole thing in this movie, she's trying to go around and to convince the Fremen people to follow Paul Atreides as kind of this, prophecy being fulfilled. And I honestly think that she is a really underrated actress, which I feel like some people might kind of think, wait, what? Like, she's underrated? But I don't know, I just don't see her talked about enough, at least in my personal circle. And if you guys, watching this, if you haven't seen Dr. Sleep from several years ago, she plays a character in there by the name of Rose the Hat, which is probably one of my favorite horror villains in a movie in the last, decade. So definitely check that out if you haven't seen that film. Like, super underrated film as well. But yeah, I thought she also, killed it in this role too. Then you have Austin Butler as Fade Ratha. I'm probably butchering that, so if you guys are fans of like the books, I apologize. But he plays this character who is kind of like one of the villains of this film. And even though his role isn't huge, I thought they did a really good job of building up his character. So when it comes on to later in the film, and him and Paul Atreides have a showdown, you actually feel like he is a legitimate threat to possibly take him down. Especially for me, I haven't read any of the books, so I don't know what's going to happen in the story. And so for me as an audience member watching that fight scene, I thought that he was a legit threat to take him down. And not only that, but just the way that he looks and he acts was creepy as fuck. And so shout out to the hair, makeup team, the prosthetics and everything, because I thought all that looked amazing for him. Then you also have Florence Pugh, who plays the daughter of the Emperor Christopher Walken, and I really enjoyed her character. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's a role that I've seen with her that I haven't enjoyed. But just the look of her character, and she also just had this presence about her that I found really intriguing. But then you also have Javier Bardem, you have Josh Brolin, you have Bautista, like I said, Christopher Walken. This cast is just absolutely loaded. I mean, you can't go wrong with anyone here. I thought everyone gave, at least like a very solid performance to incredible performances in the film. And as far as all the fight scenes and the action goes, I thought all of that was incredibly well shot. Especially the fight scene between Paul Atreides and Fade that's later on in the film. Just really well choreographed. So all of that looked incredible in this movie too. And I honestly feel like the only real negative that I can give the film, which isn't really a detractor from the film, it's more of just a point that this movie isn't going to be for everyone, which you can honestly say about any movie. But Dune specifically, I feel like kind of goes for a certain audience. I don't know if it's going to have necessarily a wide appeal as some of the original like Star Wars movies, things like that. Just because there's a lot going on in the film. There's a lot of lore here. And so and it's a very, very sci-fi, movie. So if that's not your kind of thing, I don't know if you're going to like this movie or just, just this world in general. But if you like the first Dune, I think that you are going to love Dune Part 2. Overall, Dune Part 2 was an incredible experience at the movie theaters. Denis Villeneuve has done it once again and proved why he is one of the best filmmakers working in Hollywood today. This is no doubt going to be one of my favorite films of the year. As far as the score goes, I'm going to give this a 9.3 out of 10, and that very well could go up. I can't wait to watch this movie again. I already pre-ordered the Steelbook. It went up. I bought that instantly because I have a feeling that's going to sell out. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably already gotten the chance to see the film. If not, if you're seeing it this weekend, definitely I want to hear what your thoughts are down below in the comments. And yeah, what are some of your favorite sci-fi movies of all time? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, guys, again, if you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up. And as always, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.